Ahmad Special Police Regiment of the Interior Ministry of the Chechen Republic, named after hero of Russia Ahmata-Haджи Kадыров, is one of the world's most combat-capable law enforcement units. The regiment was created by decree of Russian President Vladimir Putin with the purpose of fighting terrorism. The unit is personally supervised by the head of the Chechen Republic, Ramzan Kадыров. Thousands of young men aspire to become part of the Ahmad Special Forces unit, but the selection process is extremely rigorous. Besides being motivated, fearless, physically fit, and having a proficiency with firearms, every candidate must strictly adhere to the rules of Islam and the traditions of the Chechen people. Only those who meet these strict criteria can endure the brutal conditions encountered during special operations. Every day, Ahmad soldiers hone their combat skills in order to live up to the regiment's motto, anywhere, anytime, any mission. The Kадыров Regiment has also excelled in international special forces unit competitions. In 2022, it set 3 world records at the UAE SWAT Challenge in Dubai. And in 2023, it took first prize at the same event, surpassing all competitors by a margin so high it had never before been recorded. Soldiers of the Ahmad Special Forces have been actively involved in operations to combat international terrorism inside the Chechen Republic. They have carried out thousands of missions, including the 2021 special operation to take out the last terrorist cell in Chechnya. When the special military operation started in Ukraine, all the soldiers of the Kадыров Regiment, led by their commander, hero of Russia Zamid Chalayev, went to the front line to fight in some of the most dangerous parts of the conflict, such as the battle for Mariupol. From the first and up to the last day of the operation to liberate Mariupol, Ramzan Kадырov maintained direct communications both with the commander of the Ahmad unit and the commanders of other troops from Chechnya, guiding and supervising them. The men of the Kadyrov Regiment were armed with state-of-the-art equipment that allowed them to conduct combat operations at an exceptionally high level, regardless of the time of day or weather conditions. Top-grade military equipment, modern weapons and ammunition, precise and well-honed tactics, all of that combined gave Kadyrov's men the edge they needed to succeed on the battlefield. Stationed in Mariupol was Ukraine's strongest military unit, the Azov Regiment, outfitted with NATO's latest arms and equipment and composed of hardline Nazis and foreign mercenaries, as well as Ukrainian Marines and soldiers from other units of Ukraine's armed forces. Ukraine has spent 8 years preparing the city for defense, turning it into a formidable stronghold. Before approaching Mariupol, Russian troops needed to liberate a number of settlements along the way. The fighters of Kadyrov's regiment, coordinating with other units, started to advance towards the city, taking out enemy infantry and armored vehicles. Within a short time, the first part of the mission was accomplished, and Ahmad troops broke through into Mariupol proper. Inside, they faced an even greater challenge as they had to advance through dense residential areas full of multi-story buildings, each occupied by the enemy. To prevent civilian casualties, the Russian troops utilized little to no artillery, while the Ukrainian Nazis used Mariupol's citizens as human shields, making the battle twice as difficult. However, Russian troops have mastered urban warfare tactics. They were able to capture enemy footholds on the outskirts of the city within days. They then started to gradually advance towards the city center, facing artillery shelling, sniper fire, and anti-personnel mines. As the battle for the city raged on, the soldiers of Kadyrov's regiment freed the civilians and took them to safety. Protecting the civilians was a priority objective given to them personally by Ramzan Kadyrov. Humanitarian relief from the Ahmata-Haджи Regional Public Fund started to pour in immediately into the liberated parts of the city. Meanwhile, the fighters of Kadyrov's regiment were advancing to the center of Mariupol, destroying the enemy along the way. They covered several kilometers, risking their lives with every step. Captured weapons were promptly put to use against the enemy forces. Coordinated and swift actions, well-honed fighting skills, and the use of UAVs gave the fighters the intelligence they needed to identify and destroy the enemy. Regiment Commander Zamid Chalayev employed the tactic of using small squads of 5 men to stealthily infiltrate buildings and clear them of the enemy. Having thus occupied a building, the squads would move from floor to floor and fire from different windows, making the enemy believe that the building was occupied by a large number of soldiers. That, in some cases, was enough to make the enemy abandon their positions. The Chechen fighters gave the Nazis no chance to continue their resistance. The Kadyrov regiment fighters would not leave the battlefield, continuing to fight despite their wounds. Battalion commanders would set an example for their soldiers by staying in battle after sustaining shrapnel and bullet wounds. Because of this, enemy positions were under constant attack, leaving the enemy no breathing room. By mid-April, fighters of the Kadyrov Regiment and other special units of the Chechen Republic had gained control of a significant part of Mariupol. On a daily basis, they carried out operational activities, ensuring the safety of civilians at the reclaimed territories and setting up checkpoints. However, the main task ahead was to clear the vast territories of the Azovstal and Ilich factories, with their numerous underground tunnels. As the fighting went on, soldiers from different units of the Chechen Republic and the Donetsk People's Republic were advancing towards the Azovstal steelworks. The retreating enemy troops hunkered down in the plant's tunnels. On April 21st, 2022, the Kadyrov Regiment and other units claimed the Azovstal administrative building, blocking all Ukrainian units inside the plant.
Указание Рамзана Ахматовича, Главы Чеченской Республики. Приказ выполнен.
Seeing their inevitable doom, the Nazis began to surrender. By May 20th, 2022, Mariupol was completely liberated. The Kadyrov Fund immediately started to send resources to help restore Mariupol's cathedral mosque, as well as rebuild the city infrastructure. A full-scale restoration of the city was underway. The Kadyrov Regiment fighters shortly moved on to the new combat assignments. Along with other military units, they liberated the towns of Popasnaya, Zolotoye, Lysychansk, and over 30 other towns and villages in the Donbass. Today, the AKHMAT Special Police Regiment continues to safeguard Russia and defend its interests, ready to take on any mission, anytime, anywhere.